Welcome back to the Flying with the Flock podcast, the best place to get all of your Eagles and NFL related news. I'm your host, Matt, and we have reached rookie minicamp, ladies and gentlemen, and some other teams have some voluntary off-season training workout sessions as well. But so football's back. Maybe, kind of. You could say that it's kind of back, but at the end of the day, yeah, we're sort of back, ladies and gentlemen. Which, some footage out of Eagles rookie minicamp looks kind of good. Obviously, Jahad Campbell isn't participating, especially after getting surgery done on his one shoulder a few months back. So we're still waiting on him to get some reps. But not a big deal. Anyway, before I go and just ramble on about rookie minicamps and the Eagles rookies, which we will get back to in a little bit, let's cover some NFL news that impacts the Eagles in some shape or form. Let's see. News that just came out this morning. George Pickens was actually traded to the Cowgirls, surprisingly. I wasn't really expecting him to move, especially after last week, where I even said that he probably wasn't going to move anywhere. Rather, he was just going to stay with the Steelers at this point, because the rumors were is that he was up for grabs to help the Steelers get capital in this year's draft. But it seems like he was on the chopping block the entire time. I mean, he was traded for a third-round pick in 2026, a fifth-round pick, and a sixth-round pick in 2027. So, still some capital. We still don't know what his ceiling could be, so it's hard to really judge whether this is fully worth it. It's sort of a smart move for Dallas. They give CeeDee Lamb another running mate and a deep threat as well, allowing CeeDee Lamb to work the corners number ones on shorter routes, whereas George Pickens can go down the field and hopefully Dak Prescott could step back and try to drop a bomb to George Pickens. But another reason why this might not work out, in my opinion, is the new head coach. Obviously, Dallas is notoriously known for having big personalities down there. I mean, you've had the likes of Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith. Those are the two that I can think off the top of my head. Plenty of guys with big personality. Let's get that completely straight. But where it starts to become a problem is a lot of those guys were in the league and on the Cowgirls while they had franchise head coaches in place. Or if they were around during a head coaching change, this head coach that was coming in already had some prestige with him and some respect and knew how to rein in these kind of guys. I'm not so sure whether Brian Schottenheimer knows how to rein in big personalities. We know Jerry is starting to lose it, so that's going to be one front where it's going to be hard for them to balance these big personalities that are going to be available. But I question whether Brian Schottenheimer is the right man to try to rein in this team, especially after them missing the playoffs this last year. And it just continues to build up in question marks that are only going to be answered by the time the season gets here of what is this team realistically going to look like. Dak Prescott coming off of a pretty serious injury. CeeDee Lamb, he technically had surgery, but it didn't seem like it would affect him too much. But still, CeeDee Lamb maybe took a step back, you could say, but realistically, he was the entire offense last year. They didn't address the running back position. They kind of addressed the offensive line, but not enough. And bringing in the George Pickens only adds a new element of questions here, because who's going to rein him in when he goes like above and beyond here? Because we know it's George Pickens. He likes to pick a fight with everybody if possible, even his own teammates. But I just don't know. It doesn't. I see a lot of people saying, "Oh, this is a great move for Dallas." It's a good move for Dallas. They hit a position of need, because I don't even know who their wide receiver 2 is. It might be Brandon Cooks still, but it just doesn't put a lot of confidence in me of them, if that makes sense. It's not like an amazing idea. I could see why they would think that, hey, this is the move that we have to make ourselves better here. But realistically, is it going to work out in the locker room? I feel like that's the better question as of right now with George Pickens. Obviously, we have a lot of other questions on the field with other players. We know George Pickens is going to show up on the field if he's on there and if a quarterback targets him. But, yeah, definitely going to be interesting to see. This is a make-or-break year for multiple players and multiple people in Dallas. Main one being Dak Prescott. Even after signing a long-term deal, this is it. If you can't find this, there was rumors this past offseason that they're going to draft a rookie quarterback to maybe even supplant Dak Prescott. But realistically, decent move by the Cowgirls. I would like to see how this plays out more as we get when we get into the season even. So it's hard to judge as of right now. All right, next up, another piece of news is Dallas Goedert seems to be staying with the Eagles through 2025. The Eagles on the tight end came to an agreement to restructure the contract of Goedert. I do feel like this is a good move. This is a move that I didn't want to see him traded. Put it that way. He's an amazing pass catcher when he's on the field, and he's a good run blocker as well. But when he's on the field, that's the problem. Looking at it, I'm happy to have our Super Bowl tight end back. That doesn't mean that we probably should have taken another guy in the draft. But ultimately, I do feel like that this is going to be a solid deal. I'm not sure whether we pick him up after next year. I do feel like Grant Calcaterra is a good backup, but I still feel like we needed somebody younger to help come in and learn sort of what we did for Zach Ertz. We brought in Dallas Goedert when we knew Zach Ertz was at the end. We brought in Dallas Goedert. We had him sit behind Zach Ertz a year, and then ultimately we traded Zach Ertz. But in this case, I feel like Howie probably wasn't as sold on a lot of the tight ends at the positions that the Eagles would be compared to other players. Like, their value wasn't as high. So I do feel like in that sense, if he felt that way, then completely understandable. I completely trust in Howie, 110%. But I do feel like this is a good move, restructure, take away, maybe put some more of his money in bonuses, like Super Bowl bonus or like certain milestones if he can stay on the field. Incentivize him to work on his health rather than his play on the field. Let's put it that way. If we can put it into, if you stay on the field for this many games consecutively, you get this bonus. You get $1 million or maybe even $2 million at max on top of out of what you were supposed to earn. So if we can push him towards this direction, I do feel like this is going to be the thing that could ultimately continue opening up options for Jalen Hurts down the field. And again, he's still a good pass blocker as well, so it would open up things in the run offense as well. So good move by the Eagles here. Again, Like I said, and what I'm going to say about most of these teams is I need to see how they perform, especially maybe in the preseason, but especially week 1, week 2. I would like to see how they perform then, and then we can make a thorough analysis of who these teams really are and how these moves, like a George Pickens getting uh, picked up by the Cowgirls and the Dallas Goedert staying with the Eagles, we'll see how all this kind of works out. Do I feel like, looking at the standings right now, I still feel like Eagles are the best team by far. Commanders in a second place, with Dallas trying to fight for that second place, and the Giants will continue to be in the basement for a little while. So we'll have to wait and see on our division. Here's some more news. Brock Purdy is reportedly expected to get a new contract with the 49ers, around $50 million per season. Do I feel like this is a little bit of an overpay? Yes. You saw they're already gutting their entire team for the most part in order to pay Brock Purdy this money. And it's not like Brock Purdy elevates this team at a... It's not like you have a Tom Brady here who can elevate the play of the players around him, or Patrick Mahomes, or Patrick Mahomes, where he elevates the play around around himself. Rather, it's the guy that does his job, which is still a thing you need, and quarterbacks are going to be more expensive than anybody, but $50 million per season for Brock Purdy, I feel like it's a little bit of overkill. You could make the argument $40 million possibly per year, 45 at max, but 50 plus, we start to get in the territory where this is going to sink the 49ers more than it's going to help them at this point. They need the cap room to continue to build around Brock Purdy if they're going to keep him around. And right now, who are their wide receivers? A banged up Brandon Ayuk, who might not be able to start the season. George Kittle, who's probably going to be a 49ers for life, especially with the new contract that he signed a while back. And I feel like it was 4 years, like $70-something million guaranteed. So he's a 49er for life. A Ricky Pearsall. Trent Williams is going to be a big question mark this season for the 49ers. But I do feel like that this might be more of a handicap than I feel like John Lynch and the 49ers front office realize at this point. It's hard to say. I'm not a huge Brock Purdy fan. I do feel like he's constantly a system quarterback, and I don't want to take that as a bad connotation, because all of the best quarterbacks are system quarterbacks, because the best head coaches build systems around their quarterback and their strengths. That's the end goal right there. But a lot of those system quarterbacks can elevate the play around themselves in order to will their teams to wins, and we just haven't seen that from Brock Purdy, especially on the biggest stages, whether it's the NFC Championship a few years ago, whether it was a Super Bowl 2 years ago, or over a year ago, however long that was ago. It's just hard to realistically see Brock Purdy being a long-term guy here in San Francisco, especially if the money starts to sink the 49ers quickly. And if you look at their division, right now the Rams are primed for a Super Bowl run in the next 1 or 2 years here. The Seahawks are doing a rebuild, which is kind of weird because it's not entirely like a normal rebuild. They brought in Sam Darnold, and they drafted Jalen Milroe. They brought in a few pieces that could continue to bolster up their defense, which would be nice. You would hope Sam Darnold takes their offense to the next step, but we got to wait and see for that Seahawks team. And then you also have the Cardinals, who are constantly primed to take the next step by the entire media landscape, but they always fall flat on their back whenever it comes to them having to show up. So it's ultimately an interesting spot for the 49ers. if they do sign Brock Purdy to a large contract and they don't win a Super Bowl within the first 2 years of that, I believe that their Super Bowl window closes shut. I do believe that they have a shot over the next 2 years because although the NFC is very competitive with the Eagles, Lions, Commanders, you could debate the Packers. The Buccaneers can be fairly competitive when they want to. But when you look at some of these headlining teams, a lot of these guys are Super Bowl favorites already. Eagles, Lions, Super Bowl favorites right now. So if they're going to win, it's going to have to be now. And it's going to be off the back of Brock Purdy. And they constantly get exposed by good teams and good coach teams as well. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see where the 49ers take their next step. But, yeah, hopefully they don't sink their team with this big contract as a whole. But who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. All right, next up is so they announced where the 2027 NFL Draft is going to be taking place, and that's going to be down in Washington, D.C., ladies and gentlemen. I might try to go to that one. We'll have to wait and see. I'm trying to go to next year's as well in Pittsburgh, but that's more of a longer drive in theory. Yeah, interesting spot. They said they're going to try to have it in the National Mall. That's a beautiful spot for right there. I've been there a few times. So, as a whole, honestly, good on the NFL. It's a really solid spot, and it does bring more, I guess, not popularity, but it brings more attention to a team that's currently growing and currently becoming a top-tier team in the NFL. They still have to make quite a few more moves, I feel like, definitely on defense, but it's still a solid idea. And then the Commanders are also, I believe they're moving back to RFK Stadium after they invest 3 something billion in it. New RFK Stadium plans. Yeah, looking at it, they're going to invest $3.7 billion. It is tentatively scheduled to open by 2030. So it looks like it's a domed building. It sits right on the waterfront. It looks really solid. I would definitely be interested to see how big it is in actuality. But, yeah, I don't think it's a horrible idea. I feel like it looks like a nice stadium. DC is taking a step forward in the football department with the draft coming up and with their new $3.7 billion stadium looking to open by the start of next decade, or by the start of the next decade. So, good stuff, Commanders. As much as I don't like you guys, I don't hate you guys as much as I hate Dallas. So that's a solid step right there. All right, so with the Eagles rookies coming in, it's been revealed that there's been quite a few retired jerseys, or jerseys that are being held on or being reserved or withheld, whatever you want to call it, for retirement. Currently, they have 9 numbers retired, that being number 5 by Donovan McNabb, number 15. I forget who wore 15. Who wore 15? Who wore 15 for the Eagles? Oh, Steve Van Buren. Okay, Steve Van Buren. Who wore this one? Obviously, they already have Brian Dawkins retired. 40, I don't know. 44, I don't know. 60, I don't know. Oh no, I feel like that's no, I'm blanking on his name, but I can see the face of number 60. 70, don't know off the top of my head. 92 is Reggie White. And 99, I'm pretty sure. 99 Eagles. Yeah, that's Jerome Brown. All right. So those are the guys that are already retired. Currently, some numbers that are likely to be withheld are number 9 for Nick Foles, number 12 for Randall Cunningham, number 25 for LaShawn McCoy, number 55 for Brandon Graham, number 62 for Jason Kelce, number 71 for Jason Peters, number 86 for Zach Ertz, and number 91 for Fletcher Cox. Here's my thoughts on all those. Nick Foles should be retired. Our first Super Bowl winning quarterback should be retired. Understandable. Number 12, Randall Cunningham. He brought in a new era of quarterback style, and he helped the Eagles realize that is a playmaker style is something that they're looking for in a quarterback. He didn't ever win the big game, so that's my downside to retiring him. I feel like holding on to him for a little while longer and allowing players to wear the number 12 would be all right. 25, LaShawn McCoy, arguably, well, until this past season, he was arguably, or outright, our greatest running back of franchise history. Now with Saquon here, and Saquon breaking multiple of his records in one season, the argument now is who's better, Saquon or LaShawn McCoy. But still, Shady deserves his number retired, honestly, and he would be the next probable player that we see retired jersey number. Brandon Graham, do I even have to say anything else? Deserves a jersey retirement. He is Philly in an athlete form. Jason Kelce deserves his number retired. Greatest center of all time in the NFL. Greatest center in the Eagles of all time. He probably needs to wait a few more years, but we'll probably see a Brandon Graham, Jason Kelce, and Fletcher Cox. Let me talk on Fletcher Cox as well. Arguably one of the greatest defensive tackles, or especially nose tackles, with the Eagles. He was a captain of that defense and anchor for many years. Same with Brandon Graham, a captain of the defense, been an anchor off the edge. So I feel like the triplet here, Brandon Graham, Jason Kelce, and Fletcher Cox, most likely get all of their jerseys retired at the same time. I would probably try to get to that game if possible. But yes, ultimately, an amazing step for these three gentlemen. Here's where we get a little bit more dicey. Similar to Randall Cunningham, Zach Ertz put up some of the greatest numbers by a tight end ever as an Eagles. He was able to win a Super Bowl, but he had a hard fall off after that Super Bowl. So it could be debated. I know they're allowing a rookie to wear his number. So I know some of these numbers are probably still open. I feel like they should keep 12, 71, 86 open. I do feel like they should keep those three numbers open just so they don't run out of run out of numbers here. Let's see. And lastly, we have Jason Peters. As great of an offensive tackle as he was, and he helped the Eagles win a Super Bowl, I understand that. And as great of an offensive tackle as he was, arguably, I don't feel like his number should be retired or withheld. I feel like any player should be able to wear his number. So that's just my personal thoughts on that. And I do start to have a serious question. In 15 years, when like Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Lane Johnson, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Carter, like these big name guys for this Eagles team, when they start to retire, how are we going to start having all these numbers? we're going to have to allow players to wear these numbers during training camp and then switch over their numbers before the season starts. That's the only way I could see this happening. I do feel like, yeah, no, I feel like, yeah, the numbers that should seriously be retired should be, you can make the argument for 5. I'm not a huge fan of 5, but you can make the argument for 5. You can make the argument for definitely 20, 92, maybe 99. I can understand 99. 9, make an argument for 12, definitely 25, 55, 26, 91, you can make the argument for 86. Those are a few that should be retired. The rest should probably be reinstated, allow other players to use. But that's just my opinion. Obviously, I didn't grow up, especially around the time of 40, 44, 60, 70, 99 as much. But ultimately, I do feel like some of these guys need to allow other players to wear their jersey number. And speaking on jersey numbers, we're going to take a look at the Eagles' new numbers for the season. We have Jihad Campbell at number 30, Andrew Mabuka at 24, Ty Robinson at 95, Kyle McCord at 19, Mac McWilliams at 22, Samal Malden Jr. At 42 on defense, Antoine Powell Ryland Jr. at 93, Cameron Williams at 73, and Drew Kendall at 66. I feel like Antoine Powell Ryland's number of 93 really fits him. I like Andrew Mabuka's number of 24. Jihad Campbell wore 30 in his first, I feel like, 2 years at Alabama, so that's understandable. I kind of do have a soft spot for quarterbacks that wear 19 because it looks so weird that it's actually kind of funny. And I also like, where is he? I also like Ty Robinson's number of 95. All right, so realistically, that's all I have to talk about today. There's some bigger news around the NFC, that being Eagles working out a deal with Dallas Goedert. We could be seeing a move for them to grab a veteran safety in Justin Simmons. That's still a wait and see. Dallas trading for George Pickens, the crash-out king, and Brock Purdy possibly getting paid the big bucks. So, with all that being said, please leave a like and subscribe down below. That would be much appreciated if you listen this far. I do apologize again. Last week's episode, I completely sat on it for multiple days, dealing with the ending of the semester and all. But we're going to be back and stronger than ever. Maybe even with guests stopping by to talk their mind on football as a whole. But that's to be determined. So please leave a like and subscribe down below. That would be much appreciated. Please follow us on Twitter. Again, you can interact with me over there whenever you feel like it. But I've been Matt, and that's all. And remember, go Birds!